of a strategic deterrent force. In the event of a missile attack on the United States, we will retaliate by firing our missiles in a brilliantly cynical plan called Mutually Assured Destruction, or MAD for short. Does anybody see an irony there somewhere? We're not waiting for orders to end the world as we know it. I'm usually hanging out at the bar at the Crown Hotel in Dunoon. It's a resort town on the banks of Holyloch in Scotland. It's known mainly for building the world's fastest racing yachts, and also for the annual Highland Games, where tall, muscular Scotsmen, wearing traditional kilts, gather to hurl telephone pole-sized logs great distances. Needless to say, a lot of single Scottish school teachers kind of traditionally spend their summers there looking for husbands, a summer fling, or maybe just a peek under those manly kilts. Well, we're the first American servicemen in Scotland since World War II. We're welcomed like royalty by everybody, especially the young women. I'm in daily competition with my shipmates for the attention of all the lovely young local girls. I'm also heavily involved in a competition for a local town drunk, for which I seem to possess an uncanny natural aptitude. Across the loch from Dunoon is the town of Greenock. As a demonstration of their high regard for these returning Yanks, the kind folk of Greenock, in a ceremony at their town hall, graciously decide to formally adopt our entire crew. A chamber music group is playing. The mayor's dressed in top hat and tails for the presentation. We're seated at ornately decorated banquet tables and we're feasting on prime Angus steaks and champagne. Our captain is presented with an original Scottish tartan that's designed specifically to honor the Polaris missile program and our crew in particular. This is a magnificent event that's marred only by loudness and excessive drinking by me and a lot of my shipmates. Afterwards, I'm stumbling down the street and I realize I have to take a leak and it's not going to wait. I stagger into a doorway and I'm desperately trying to unbutton all 13 buttons of my uniform pants. And just as I begin to relieve myself, I look up and I see that the door has a full panel glass center. Everybody at a little tea shop is staring at me. After that incident, I think maybe I shouldn't be going back to Greenock for a while, so I start taking the ferry up to Gurrick. It's about an hour and a half up the loch from Dunoon. I'm polishing up my drunk act in the first bar I find, and somehow I hook up with Rosie McGee. Rosie's about, well, she's in her late 20s. She's good looking in a hard kind of way that I like. She's been around the block a few times. She has sharp, penetrating eyes. She laughs loud and really easy. And we have the same sick, cynical sense of humor. This is going to be a match made in heaven. We become the drinking, partying, always too loud attraction wherever we go. Everybody seems to know and like Rosie, but we're not allowed in a lot of places. What I assume is because of my Neanderthal behavior, we're excluded from most of the social functions in town, so mostly we hang out in bars and we drink with Rosie's friends. I have no idea where Rosie lives and it never even occurs to me to ask. Lots of nights we're drinking and partying so hard, I missed the last ferry back to Dunoon. Rosie proves to be really resourceful. At the rail yards, she has a friend. He lets us sleep on park trains for the night. She also has a night watchman friend at the local YMCA. He lets us sleep on the floor in the men's room. Sometimes we get woken up by guests coming in and relieves themselves, but they always nod politely and step over us, trying not to laugh or talk at us. On summer nights, another friend of Rosie lets us stay in the cemetery. We make love and we sleep on the cool marble grave covers. I remember once a Bobby rides by on a bicycle while Rosie's riding me, and he just waves and says, "Hi, Rosie, how you doing?" And she says, "Hey, Fergus, how's the baby?" And she looks back down at me, and we continue on. I'm more concerned with her wool underpants rubbing hard against my inner thighs and burning like hell. You know, a lot of working-class women and factory girls in Scotland, they can only afford wool underwear. Wool's cheap. Country's full of sheep. Rosie wears wool knickers even in summertime. I'm still carrying damn burn scars from those knickers. Picture this night. It's a beautiful, sunny Sunday morning. We're strolling along the promenade, heading out of town. My arms draped over Rosie's shoulder, her arms around my waist, her hair's up in a beehive. She's wearing my favorite white polka dot mini dress and high platform shoes. She's got incredible legs. We're laughing and kissing and hugging and pulling long swallows from a bottle of scotch. The heather on the side of the hills is shooting glimmering purple starbursts through the morning mist. Incredibly beautiful. What a day. Life is good and we're feeling good. We stop at one of those arcades on the boardwalk and you put in a couple shillings and you pull the curtain close, you take a couple pictures. Well, we finish off the bottle first and then we put a couple of coins in the machine. We take 2 rounds of pictures. We're feeling a little frisky, and in the second set we sneak in a couple of pretty intimate poses. While we're waiting for the pictures to come out, unfortunately we fall asleep. When we finally wake up, God knows how much later, I'm half undressed and Rosie's beehive looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We grab the pictures from the machine, and the first set, smiling, looking happy, pretty good, and working. Wow, by the second set, how the hell did we get in that position in this booth? What? Rosie, she looks really old. Her breasts are all saggy. I look drunk and really stupid. My face is so full of zits, I look like I took a load of buckshot. Jesus, being sober is a reality check. Holy shit. Once a month, Rosie goes up to the big city, Glasgow, spends a long weekend visiting her grandmother. I stay on my side of the lot drinking at the Crown. Speaking of Glasgow, on my second Cold War patrol, I complete a very intensive submarine qualification training program. When we get back to Holy Lock, my buddies take me up to Glasgow, to the notorious Beresford Lounge, to be initiated into a very elite brotherhood of sailors entitled to wear the submariner's Dolphins insignia. There's a few of them sitting back there. On my belt. Out of respect for those of you with weak stomachs, I'm not going to go into the details of the initiation ceremony. But I leave the Beresford and I'm totally shit-faced, along with my friend Gary and 2 equally drunken hookers. On the way to their hotel, we're chatting up the cab driver and get friendly. We convince him to stop and have a couple of drinks with us. Well, the cab driver gets way too drunk. So my friend Gary volunteers to drive the remaining couple of blocks to the hotel. He's had way too much to drink and he never drove on the other side of the street before. So we bounce our way down the street, we sideswipe about 6 cars before we get to the whorehouse. We leave the cabriolet out in the back seat of the cab, we check into the hotel, and we proceed to get it on. Later, I'm relaxing in bed. Lady of the evening's out getting us a couple more drinks. I decide I'm going to take a stroll downstairs to the lobby. Nobody seems to notice or care that I'm really drunk and very naked. Across the lobby, I spot a close friend of Rosie's, just pouring wine for some guy. I remember her from a nasty incident in Gurrick. I stagger toward him yelling, "Hey, you stole Mike Green's radio!" She sees me, she turns around real quick, she breaks the wine bottle on the edge of the table, she aims it right at my face and starts chasing me around the room. She's laughing like hell and cursing at me. She's chasing me over the broken glass, I'm beelining down to the lobby, heading up the stairs. Well, I find my friend Gary's room, I'm knocking on the door. Gary, we gotta get out of here right now, I'm gonna get in trouble. The door opens and there's a giant erection staring up at me. And the hooker standing behind him wearing his open pea coat. Wow, she's got nice boobs too. He leans into me and he says, "I ain't going anywhere till I get laid again." "Gary, it's me, your best friend. You gotta help me out here. I'm in trouble." "You're on your own, pal." And he slams the door in my face. Wow. I stagger back to my room. I fumble into my uniform, and I run barefoot down to the train station. I'm carrying my shoes, my coat, my hat. The last train at noon already left for the night, and the train station's closed. I toss a couple of bills to the night watchman. He lets me stay on the morning train. It's empty now. He lets me stay there for the rest of the night. The train suddenly starts up in the morning. I wake up. Wow, for a second, I think I'm almost sober. I look down. My feet are all cut up. They're covered with dried blood, burning like hell. My mouth tastes like ass. My head's exploding. Where the hell's my socks? I happen to glance down and catch a glimpse of those new shiny dolphins sitting on my uniform. And I paste on a shit-eating grin. God damn, I'm a real submariner now. In spite of everything that happened, this has got to be the proudest moment of my life. On the train ride back to Dunoon, a realization slowly starts creeping in through this dense fog of the hangover I'm now here. Rosie's a hooker. Of course. How could I not have known that? That's why we're not allowed in the dances and the shops in town. It's not me or my drinking, it's Rosie. She's a whore. Everybody knew but me? Jesus. Hey, you know the Russian fishing fleet comes in and anchors near Glasgow once a month? The crews aren't allowed ashore, so prostitutes are poured out to serve the crew and keep the morale up. Rosie can make enough money in one weekend a month visiting her grandmother to live for the entire month. Damn, am I stupid or what? Well, I never go back to Gurk again, and I never see Rosie again. She searches for me in all the bars around Gurk. He even goes to Dunoon. Always gets the same line that sailors who used to cover for a buddy. Giambri, he's on restriction for disciplinary reasons. He can't leave the ship. She's really persistent. She repeatedly calls the ship and speaks to the duty officer. She pleads with him to let me come ashore. Finally, Commander Douglas, the executive officer, called me to his stateroom. Giambri, I like to feel we're running a pretty secure operation here. What I need to know is how a local woman on a landline is able to repeatedly place calls to a restricted phone line on a top-secret U.S. naval vessel asking for you. I'm not really sure, sir. She does have a lot of friends. Well, this stops now. Fix it, or I kick it higher up. Well, I can't fix anything. I rely on the only option I know when things go wrong. I just keep on drinking. And that's not quite the end of the story. My friend Stephen back there, he tells me he thinks that actually I'm the whore in the story. Rosie was just doing what she had to do to make a living. Times are hard there. She loved me the best way she knew. He said, I'm the one using her. He says, who the fuck are you thinking you're better than her? You're a 21-year-old punk with a bad attitude, a drinking problem, and a face that looks like a fucking pepperoni pizza. Jesus, what a self-righteous asshole you are. Wow. He was right. You know, I wish now I'd kept that picture we took hugging in the booth at the arcade instead of tearing it up like an 8-year-old kid on a tantrum. Boy, these demons from my youth, they're still haunting me. Thank you.